Well, after an incredibly dramatic day one here at Edgbaston, day two, Mitch Johnson, was kind of a bit nostalgic, wasn't it? Old-fashioned hard test cricket.
Yeah, there was a lot of old school test cricket going on, and it was really good to watch actually from a spectator's point of view. I think, Rory Burns at the top, there was a lot of talk about his technique. Is he good enough at this level? I was expecting something totally different because I hadn't seen really much of him at all. And yeah, it was quite odd the way he sort of set himself up with the head right around and a little bit of sore neck coming in, I think. But he did absolutely well today. He was he played a sort of an Alistair Cook batting display, I think. He just waited for the ball to be in his areas, which was off the pads. He played Nathan Lyon really well, although he did play and miss him a lot. And Nathan Lyon had an opportunity early on as well with an LBW, which they didn't go up for. So yeah, it's definitely played him well. He went back to the shorter balls, was cutting really well. He did drive really well against the quicks as well, but he just was really patient, and he had some good people at the other end that helped him along the way. So a really good test match, Ashes batting performance.
Well, what about the Australian attack? Because it was a day where they looked like they were getting frustrated, especially some of those balls that were going between slips and gully, for example. Was there anything that they could have done differently?
Oh, look, it was a tough day. It's a long day when you're out there and there's only 4 wickets down. We saw the ball get changed, which definitely spruiked them up, and they could see the difference as well. Once that harder ball came and they got that, it was actually moving again. So it definitely goes to show that softer ball here is it's easier to score, not as easy to bowl with. But look, from a bowler's point of view, I think what they did was quite good for most of the day. There was probably times they probably got a little bit fuller. A lot of plays and misses like we saw today, which means sometimes it can be a little bit too short. It looks good in vision, and you think, oh wow, that's gone through and it's carried. But sometimes you got to be happy to be driven down the ground. And I don't know if we saw enough batsmen driving down the ground. We saw with Joe Root the way he played that ball off Peter Siddle, and then looked down at the pitch but he thought it may have popped off the pitch a little bit because it was a little bit slower. But I think it was more just because it's such a hard pitch to actually drive on, and he went too hard with his hands. So needed to see more of that, I think, from the Australian bowlers.
Now, you, of course, are one of the fast-bowling left-armour brigade. Very loyal pack, I know. No Mitchell Starc in this test. Was that a good decision, do you think? Or has it meant that there's maybe not enough variety in this Australian attack for times like this?
Oh, look, it's a difficult one to answer because for me, when a team's picked, it's picked for a reason. And for me, it was Peter Siddle and James Pattinson, who have played a lot of county cricket over here now. And Pattinson has done well in these conditions in the past as well. In 2013, I think it was, he dominated over here, and he's such a reliable bowler. And to be able to come back and do what he's done is big credit to him. But Peter Siddle again. Look, you know what he does with the ball. He gets it to move around a bit, does enough with it, and he's done well in these conditions. So from that point of view, I'm happy with the decision. I think variety was there. No left armour. I always would love to see a left armour. I want to see a fired up Starc. A Starc that's swinging the ball would be outstanding, and maybe something that they did need here today, because I just thought after the lunch break, for me, I would have went really hard at England with a couple of short balls, get the fielders in close, and really put a bit of pressure on them. But they went with the Nathan Lyon spin, and I get that as well because of the left-hand Rory and the amount of times that he did play and miss. So the variety is definitely there. It's a bit of a coin toss really, because the bowling attack is really strong.
Now, you did mention a DRS decision there before. The umpires have copped a lot so far in this test. We have seen quite a few mistakes. Yep. Do you have any sympathy for them? How have you seen that?
Yes and no. I mean, I wouldn't like to be doing the job, and I think with DRS and the technology, I think that's put a lot more pressure on the umpires, to be honest, and it makes it even more difficult for them. to make these tougher decisions, because everything's been showing up on screen as well, and then the crowd gets behind that, and especially here when the Barmy Army start to get really loud, as we heard today, it makes it harder for them. But look, it's a difficult job, but there's been some really bad decisions. Hopefully that changes throughout the rest of the game and we see a really good test match and no more bad decisions, please.
And just finally, who's on top?
Oh, well, Australia, because they've still got a lead. But I think if Australia had got 2 quick wickets with that new ball, I think I'd say Australia comfortably, because it's going to be difficult, this pitch, to bat on last. I think we saw enough turn from Nathan Lyon. His luck will turn. He knows that. We saw frustration with him, but his luck will definitely turn. And I think he can do a really good job in the second innings. But firstly, they have to finish off this innings before England get too big of a lead. I think they'll be looking to get a lead of anything over 100, 150. And they've got the personnel at the moment with Stokes. He's coming off a World Cup performance that blew a lot of people away. The way he timed the ball, the patience that he had. Johnny Bairstow, he's under pressure, but he's coming in a situation that isn't as much pressure as being 6 for not many or whatever it may be. But yeah, it's still in the balance, I think. I think it's a really good test match. I'm really enjoying it.
Well, so am I, and we hope you are too. Whatever you do, make sure you're back with us here on ESPN Cricket Info for Day 3.